Well, hi everyone, a very good afternoon to you. Welcome to Silverstone for round 5 of the Ferrari Challenge Coppa Shell. It's race 1 of the weekend for the Coppa Shell drivers, about to get underway here in the sunshine at Silverstone. This really rather challenging 5.89 kilometre circuit that features 18 turns. 9 of them right-handers, 9 of them are left-handers, and a goodly amount of support here to enjoy the race action to come. As you can see, we've been to Valencia, Monza, Budapest, Le Castellet. We're here in Silverstone before the run-in to the World Finals at Mugello. We have Imola in just a couple of weeks' time. So some of the spectators enjoying the seasonal late summer sunshine, and this is where we are then, Silverstone, home of course of so many historic races, such a historic circuit, and to see the phenomenal Ferrari 488s going around this circuit is something very special indeed. There you can see the circuit. Despite its 5.89 kilometre length, there's no time for any driver to relax, that's for sure. And there we can see the drivers putting their cars into their grid boxes ahead of the start of race 1. We have 19 degrees air temperature, track temperature of some 29 degrees as we look at the back end of the wing complex. Of course, the wing complex, a new part of Silverstone. 2 pits straights here, the international pit straight that we use, and of course there is still in existence the national pit straight. Alongside us is the Scuderia Autoropa driver who's just literally hot foot up here from the podium because he took a P3 in the AM category, and we'll be introducing Martin Nelson in just a couple of moments' time. There's Henry Hassid, who goes from P1. He's taken 3 poles and 3 wins. Henry Hassid didn't join the Ferrari Challenge until the second round at Monza. He missed at Budapest, but he took a win at Monza, 2 wins at Le Castellet. And from pole position, you wouldn't bet against him taking a win here at Silverstone. Right in the left of your picture is the emblazored Mr. Jacques Driver, former champion, and making his way down the grid. Alongside Henry Hassid then is Johnny Lawson, who is the championship leader, being talked to by Alan Hyde, the circuit presenter down there on a track. There is the Hublot safety car. So Silverstone in the UK is where we are, and there is Laurent Demuse's first ever race in Ferrari Challenge, and he'll be hoping for a good result from his grid position for race number 1. Ferrari Racing Days here at Silverstone then, and of course celebrating 70 years of the remarkable brand that is Ferrari, and wearing that number on his car in appreciation of the 70th anniversary is Martin Nelson alongside me. Welcome into the commentary booth. Thanks for taking time from the podium to sprint up here and come and join us.
Thank you very much for inviting me. It's a pleasure to be here.
Thank you. Manuela Gosner, very, very quick lady. Starts from P5. That is her career best qualifying.
She was super happy after the quali.
She was super quick during quali, Martin. She really was.
Impressive.
Of course, she's been racing in another category as well. She's been racing in GT4, so the track time that she's had. The more time you get in the car, of course, or the more time you get on in any car, on any track, of course, practice makes perfect. We'll talk about that in just a moment, but in the meantime, here is Marc Genet on screen for you, who's also here this weekend.
Enzo Ferrari used to say that the heart of a car is the engine, and that's why the heart of this.
Marc Genet then has paused just for a moment as we go back to the grid and looking at the Johnny Lawson car. So as I was saying, Martin, Manuela Gosner, and you were saying, very, very quick, very happy, and she was very, very good in qualifying, and we'll see what she can do in the race. That must give you confidence, Martin, as a racing driver, doesn't it? If everything goes well in quali, then that kind of gives you, does that almost give you 100th or a 10th for when it comes to the race?
Yeah, but for sure it does. I mean, you saw her on her face, the confidence. She was happy, she was relaxed. So she will be strong today, I hope.
This was another driver that really impressed me. James Whalen. He goes from P4 on the grid. And right now we're going to try and rejoin Marc Genet, who will explain a little bit more about the 488.
Enzo Ferrari used to say that the heart of a car is the engine, and that's why the heart of this new Ferrari 488 Challenge is this amazing engine with very high performance. We are talking about 670 horsepower in this 3.9-liter engine, biturbo, and it's the first time in Ferrari's history that the Challenge has turbo-aspirated engine. And this is giving a lot of efficiency, a lot of power, and also we've made sure we've worked on the weight. The engine is 20 kilos lighter, and also the exhaust is lighter, 8 kilos lighter, 9 kilos lighter, and that together with the gearbox, 7-speed gearbox, with shorter gears, all adapted to a circuit, to a racing car, makes this car extremely fast and so pleasant and enjoyable to drive for the drivers.
Cheers, Marc Genet. Just a point there, Martin, that he was talking about is the first time in the Ferrari Challenge we've ever had a turbo car. And the drivers all tell me that driving a turbo car is different to driving that normally aspirated car, you know, where you've got this boost, and that has to be managed, doesn't it?
Yeah, for sure, and especially the gears are much shorter.
Right.
So you need to like shift up all the time, and it's but it's once you get into it, it's an amazing car.
And everybody tells me that.
You have loads of power all the time, and it's
Yes.
But it's also a car that you cannot fight it. You have to work with it.
Right.
So,
So you and the car really do have to become one.
absolutely.
Well, there is the grid then, the grid order then. It's Henry Hassid and Johnny Lawson. Then it's Christoph Herney and James Wayland, Manuela Gosner, Claudio Schiavone, Rick Lovett, Thomas Gosner, Christian Kinch, Vladimir Hladek. Then we find Tadeusz Kojima, von Skeltemar, Eric Prinot, and Ingvar Madsen, before we find Tommy Lindroth and Tina Koch and Laurent Demus and David Lim. And then right at the back of the pack is Eric Chung, who, of course, did not complete qualifying earlier today. A problem with the car. So that is the order of the grid. Let's hear from our pole sitter then, and that is Henry Hassid. He'll be hoping for the race win from there.
Nice pole position. It's my first in the Ferrari Challenge. Thank you for Charles Pozzi to give me a very nice car, and I hope now a victory.
Henry Hassid then, as you can see, of advancing years, but that has not in any way dulled his driving ability, Martin.
No, for sure not. And I met him at the hotel. Paul Ricard is a very, very nice guy. I'm super happy about driving, so it's a pleasure to have him to join the series.
Good. Okay, the race is about to get underway. Coppa Shell Race 1 then, and as is always the case in Ferrari Challenge, it is a rolling start for the cars. They will release the Hublot safety car, which will be up the road, and then the cars will all head off as well. And towards the end of the lap, they'll all grid up behind the safety car. The safety car will peel off into the pit lane, and then it will be a mad dash around the club turn towards the lights and the greens. When you're sitting in the cockpit of the car, Martin, at this point now, you kind of, I'm guessing, you just want to get on with it.
Yeah, right now they just want to relax for a few seconds.
Yes.
And then get on with it, like you said. Let's start the race. 'Cause
And we see it's really interesting when you watch some of the drivers. They have different strategies on this formation lap. A number will weave as much as they can to try and generate some tire heat, and it's also critical, not only this weaving, but it's also the depression of the brakes as well, because of course the heat that's generated by the brakes is dissipated out through to the rubber as well.
Yeah, and usually if you gas and brake all the time, you get the heat the right way. So you heat the tires from the inside, and it's usually better. But it was quite hard today because the safety car was a bit slower than it usually is.
Oh, okay.
So you really had to wave the car as well to be able to build some temperature in the tires.
And how are the tyres performing here at Silverstone? You've just come in off of a race. The race conditions are almost identical now that those that you've just experienced. Race duration exactly the same. How are the Pirelli tyres behaving? Are they just slowly going, losing, degrading, or is the degradation a bit sharper now?
But to be honest, we are missing something in the setup of my car, because usually it's decreasing bit by bit.
Yes.
But today it was like going off a huge clip.
Oh, really?
After 6 laps, I had no grip whatsoever, so I just focused on rolling into the finish line.
Well, that makes your P3 even more remarkable then. So the cars lined up behind the Hublot safety car then. This, the first of the Coppa Shell races, 2 across the course of this weekend. Here at Silverstone, part of the Ferrari Racing Days 70-year anniversary celebrations as we continue our European tour for this season 2017. Of course, the 2016 Coppa Shell champion, Thomas Loflad, no longer racing in the Ferrari Challenge. At the top of the charts with regards to points, it is the driver that goes from P2 on the grid, Johnny Lawson, who drives for the Formula Racing team. Driving for Rosso Corsa is James Wayland, who we're on board with now. He goes from P4. I think, having looked through my records, his best qualifying ever in the Ferrari Challenge Europe Series. So there's Claudio Schiavone in the 102 car. Then, of course, the Gostner family are here in terms of Thomas Gostner, and also the quickest of the ladies is Manuela Gostner. Von Skeltermar there, car number 177, as we go down the old pit straight here at Silverstone. Is another driver in qualifying who just didn't seem to get it together as I would have expected him to, and I don't know why that is. I've not had a chance to catch up with Von Skeltermar, but doubtless he'll be able to tell me why. And it was really interesting. We were listening in as Rick Lovett came into the pit lane from his qualifying, and he was immediately saying to his engineer, I know through here I could have gained another second for this lap. This is where I'm making mistakes, because, you know, when you come to a circuit like this, you learn the circuit, don't you? And you realize where there are areas that you can improve and just get another, normally it's tenths, isn't it? But he was saying he felt he could get another second out of the lap.
Yeah, but the thing with this track is that usually when you can make one mistake in one corner, that's fine. Mm-hmm. But here you will lose like 3-4 curves, because everything is like connected here. You need to have the flow.
So you need to be super smooth through all the sequences to get the best out of it.
For sure, and if you like enter a little bit too fast or too slow, you will lose the whole section. So it's
so that really will compromise your whole lap almost.
Absolutely.
Well, the car's then backing up behind the Hublot safety car then, and they will get into grid order. They're making their way out of the chapel turn now, which is turn number 14, and heading down this hangar straight. So many famous names of the various parts to this circuit here at Silverstone. And there you can see all the cars now. The Manuela Gostner car you can see there, best ever qualifying in the Ferrari Challenge for her. Super happy about that, and she will be driving in the ladies race, the separate classification which only contains her and Tina Koch this weekend. Claudio Schiavone car just going through on grid. Claudio Schiavone going from P6 on the grid, just behind Manuela Gostner. And there is the Henry Hassid car. And Johnny Lawson then, who will go side by side when they approach the straight. Here comes the music now to build the anticipation for race number 1, Coppa Shell. And as the lights go green then, the race is underway. Henry Hassid from pole position then. Already being challenged by Johnny Lawson, Christoph Hernie and James Wayland, maybe into P3 before they get into the first turn. So catching out Christoph Hernie, who of course started from P3 on the grid. But James Wayland has moved himself up a position, and Claudio Schiavone, another one that's trying to muscle his way past and move up a place there, is involved with a battle with Manuel Agostino, who does lose out to the 102 car of Claudio Schiavone, then who puts himself ahead of the lady racer Manuel Agostino. Von Skeltermar, also another driver with a very, very good start from much further back down the grid. And look at Von Skeltermar go now. They're almost 3 abreast. This may not work. Thankfully, they do all go through okay. The adrenaline pumping right in the early stages of this race. They go past the BRDC clubhouse, the famous British Racing Drivers Club, and up the inside there was the 144 car of Vladimir Hladek, right behind Von Skeltermar in car number 177 as they make their way onto the national pit straight for the first time of asking, then turning into that next turn, the Cop's turn, as they head up towards this sequence at Maggots and Beckett's, which is for Martin Nelson, this phenomenal part of the circuit, which the chicane that you kind of, it looks like you take it flat. Is that true or not?
You're not flat on power, but you don't brake. It's an amazing place. It's just, you cannot believe that you can carry that much speed into this section, but you can.
Okay. Von Skeltermar looking back from his car now as the car's now out onto the hangar straight, heading towards the Stowe turn. And through Sector 2 then it's Hassid, Lawson, Wayland, then it's Hernie and Schiavone and Manuel Agostino. And there is the 125 car of Tadakazu Kojima, new into the Ferrari Challenge. For this race weekend here at Silverstone. Vladimir Hladek then maintaining his P8 position behind Von Skeltermar in P7, and the rest of the order on the screen as you can see. So Von Skeltermar under a bit of pressure now from Vladimir Hladek as they make their way around the club turn there and complete the first lap of this 30-minute race here. And Von Skeltermar really going to feel the pressure of the 144 car now, but as Martin, you will tell us, it's all very well being as quick as the car in front. You've got to find a way past, and you're trying to provoke a driver perhaps into making just a tiny error. That's all you need, isn't it?
Yeah, but it looks like it's a huge track, but it still is quite hard to pass here. So
yes,
you really want to stress him to make a tiny mistake, and then you can put your front inside. So it's not as easy as it looks to pass.
I'm sure. So Hladek then certainly taking more curb than Von Skeltermar, and Manuel Agostino right on the back of Claudio Schiavone as well. We're staying with this battle for P7 at the moment, which is between the Kessel Racing driver Von Skeltermar, and here is where Claudio Schiavone almost rather ungentlemanly-like muscled his way past Manuel Agostino. But what the heck, when it comes to being gentlemanly, you're all out there to do the very best you can in the race. There is.
It was also nice of Manella to give him space. They didn't touch, so it's.
Sometimes, Martin, sometimes there are drivers out there that you compete with where there is respect between both of you and racing room is left. On other occasions, the door is firmly shut, isn't it?
That is correct, yes.
I don't want to get you into saying anything that you shouldn't. But now, surely, Skeltermar is really fit. I mean, Hladek is almost welded to the back of Fonz's car now.
It looks like Fons need to work with the car quite a lot, so it's at the moment Hladek is.
He certainly looks quicker, doesn't he? But if Fons is able to make the car as wide as possible, as Fons knows how to do that on occasions.
Absolutely correct.
Vladimir Hladek has got to find a way past. We're joined by Michele, the Italian speaker who's here at the Silverstone circuit as well. Delighted to see him alongside us as we go through the early stages of this race, where the one that is really under pressure here, it's for P7. Von Skeltermar and Vladimir Hladek. There is our race leader going through. He's built up about a second and a quarter over. Henry Hassid has built up a second and a quarter over Johnny Lawson. So he's just gradually, isn't he? He's opening up that gap, which I guess is what you need to do. But of course, Martin, he can focus on every corner, nailing every apex, can't he?
Yeah, for sure. But still, he is looking a little bit back at Johnny as well. And,
okay.
For sure, Johnny is pushing. I don't know if it's just.
Come on, Manuel! Oh no! Manuel Agostino coming back at Claudio Schiavone, and now in that situation, Martin, Did Claudio not allow enough racing room and close the door on Manuela and ended up going around, or was it Manuela's fault? Come on, be a race steward.
I leave that decision to Claudio.
Well, let's see it again here.
See it again, yeah.
Right, there was a gap there for sure. Manuela didn't need inviting twice, and then the door narrowed, didn't it?
Yeah, but it's a race thing. I mean, it wasn't. They were not really pushing, so.
No, and there would certainly be nothing malicious in that, but they do say that rubbing is racing. I'm not sure Claudio Schiavone will agree with that at this very moment in time. So the margin between the two of them, 1.289. The two of them, by that I mean P1 and P2. And Henry Hassid is looking good here. Now, the incident involving cars 102 and 183, which of course we just saw a few moments ago, is now under investigation. So be interesting to see how the race stewards view that. So Johnny Lawson, he's got to stay with Hassid here in case Hassid makes a mistake, presumably, Martin.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, he needs to keep on putting pressure on Hassid to make mistakes as well. But they've been in this situation quite many times now, so would be interesting to see.
Yes, and of course, you know, Johnny is in a relatively comfortable position at the top of the points chart at the moment, and he knows that actually banking P2 is almost as good as a win, because of course that means that Henry Hassid, who's trying to make up those points for the rounds that he did not do, he's got a bit of a mountain to climb in terms of the points chart, hasn't he?
Johnny's a smart guy, and I mean, he's driving for the championship. But, but still, he's a racer.
Of course,
so
you know,
you want to win.
And you're all the same, aren't you? When you get in that car, P2 or P3, and it amazes me the most when you get pit lane interviewers that, you know, will come up to you and say, "Oh, Martin Nelson, you won the race. Were you happy about that?" "Well, no, I wanted P4. What do you think?" I mean, what a stupid question to ask. James Wyland we go on board with now. And this is a great onboard shot, and you take the curves, but you don't go. I mean, it's almost pinpoint accurate. Oh, Manuela gets.
They decide that it was a little bit too rough.
Manuela Gostner has been given a drive-through penalty. You'll see it up on screen in just a moment's time. It's just been notified on our race control screen that Manuela is going to get a drive-through penalty, which is, yep. Race steward, I wouldn't want to be one. They have difficult decisions to make, and that's how they've judged it. So Manuela Gostner, the car that you can see there is confirmation on the screen, gets a drive-through penalty. So unfortunately, Manuela Gostner, who's currently running in P5, ain't going to be P5 probably at the end of the race, sadly. Now, when you get awarded a drive-through penalty, Martin Nelson, within 3 laps, you have to take that, don't you?
Yeah, for sure.
So
you have 3 laps to be very upset with yourself or someone else.
Yes.
But you still have to take the penalty, so it doesn't make any difference.
We have seen, of course, in races in the past where drivers have not taken their drive-through penalty and want to appeal that decision and actually get black flagged and disqualified from the race for not having taken it. So I'm sure Manuela will be taking it. Von Skeltermar, for the moment, has seen off the challenge from Vladimir Hladik. They were much closer than that, and all of a sudden now Thomas Gostner, who is Manuela Gostner's father, is under a bit of pressure now from Rick Lovett, the Canadian racer that drives for Kessel Racing in car number 112. Rick Lovett is currently running in P9. Tadakazu Kojima is behind in P10, and they're all kind of bunching up here, and it's going to be 4 for that place in a moment, and that's going to be really interesting to watch because, dare I say it, Martin, Von Skeltermar now appears to be a little bit of a cork in a bottle here. So they're all beginning to get closer, aren't they? Because Fons is perhaps just not as quick as some of the cars that are behind. But again, it's the point we made. It's all very well being quicker. You've got to find a way round.
Yeah, and also it's so much easier to follow than being chased. So it's
yes.
I mean, if you break 2 meters later, you will gain. And but it looks like Rick is having a very good car at the moment. He's driving better lines than the others.
Okay, well, we'll keep an eye on Rick Lovett then, who's currently running in P9. There's Thomas Gostner, who's ran just a little bit wide there, but might have just played into the hands a little bit of Rick Lovett, as Von Skeltermar now is managing to get away from Vladimir Hladik. There is Thomas Gostner then, who's running in P8, being chased down by that Canadian racer from Kessel Racing. That's Rick Lovett. Behind Rick Lovett is Tadakazu Kojima. And let's have a listen to Manuela Gostner's team radio. Let's hope she doesn't swear. No, she's a lady.
Manu, il prossimo giro, drive through.
Thankfully, didn't hear any swear words there at all.
I think she just said C.
Yes, absolutely. So we have 20 minutes of the race remaining. So on the next lap, Manuela will be serving her drive-through penalty. Will it have been...
Whoops.
Ooh. That's Tommy Lindroth and Ingvar Mattsson.
They are Swedes. They actually live like 20 kilometers away from each other. So we used to tell them that you don't need to be that close in racing, but they seem to be all the time.
Yes, you're right. Tommy and Ingvar are two of the fantastic characters in the Ferrari Challenge as we watch, and this battle for P8 continues. And there is Thomas Gosner then, who currently is P8. Manuela Gosner has come in for her drive-through penalty. Now the incident involving Ingvar Mattsson and Tommy Lindroth is under investigation now. Rick Lovett gets turned around there. Now, you picked that and you saw that quicker than I did. Rick Lovett was on the inside, wasn't he?
He had a better car. I can see that he didn't use as much track as Thomas did, but maybe that was not the ideal place to give it a shot.
A bit ambitious, perhaps.
Maybe.
Okay. So, as I mentioned, this incident involving cars 127 and 199 under investigation, and now being able to come through on Thomas Gosner is the car there of 125, which is being driven by Tadakazu Kojima, who's new into the Ferrari Challenge. So, Thomas Gosner, of course, compromised by that tangle just a few moments ago with Rick Lovett, and Thomas trying to come back now at the car ahead. That one is also under investigation. Race steward's going to be busy. The 161-112 incident is under investigation, but for now, Thomas Gosner has lost out on a place. Of course, Thomas Gosner earlier in the season had a horrific crash at Monza. Here it is. That's a tough one to call, Martin.
It is actually really tough. It's the door is open,
and the trouble is, if there is a gap there, you're always going to make it a car's width, and that was a car's width gap. It
was, yeah.
And I think the rule of thumb is always it's how far alongside you were before the turn-in happens.
Yeah.
And that's going to be a difficult one for the stewards to chew over, I think. Johnny Lawson then is P2. And Henry Hassid has built up a margin of some 3.058 seconds over Johnny Lawson, as you can see on screen, and just quietly been going about it lap after lap after lap, being able to put in those good times. James Wayland then in P3 and Christoph Herney in P4. The margin between the two of them is about a couple of seconds. And then we can see the rest of the drivers come through, including Eric Prinot. And Eric Prinot, Martin, has had a real up and down season. Well, he ain't going to see that pit board hung around onto the wall like that, is he? And there is Eric Chung, who had a problem during qualifying and therefore started right from the back of the grid today. Yeah, Eric Prinot, who has been always up there in the championship in all the years that I've been involved with it. This year has been his most turbulent year. Just hasn't seemed to be able to get it together.
I think it's like you said, it's been up and down, and usually he's really fast, but this is also a special track. Maybe they are missing something with the setup as well. He's a good driver. I mean, he knows how to drive challenge and been apart for many years. So
yes. Ingvar Mattsson is getting a drive-through penalty for the contact between himself and Tommy Lindroth. You're kind of not surprised by that, are you?
Not really.
So Ingvar, who he and I were on the same flight back to London the other day. We had a nice time in the airport together, having a discussion about all things motor racing. And well, Tommy Lindroth, we just have discussions with him all the time. He's just a fantastic guy.
And they did actually give Thomas Gosner a drive-through as well.
Oh, so as far as the race steward was concerned then, Rick Lovett had the right to be where he was, and they feel that Thomas Gosner turned in on him.
But I think, I'm not a judge, I wouldn't say, but I think he opened up and then he closed, and he closed too late. So I'm guessing that's their decision.
Well, Rick Lovett is actually in the pit lane, ironically, so Thomas Gosner gets a drive-through penalty. Rick's race is already compromised, isn't it? So, but Thomas Gosner, well, both members of the family that are in this Coppa Shell race having the joint honours of both having had drive-through penalties. That's curious, isn't it? Right, here's Eric Chung then, chasing down Claudio Schiavone. You'll recall Claudio Schiavone was out from earlier in the race, turned around, and now Eric Chung is chasing.
Do you know what happened with him in the quali? I think the car stopped in the first corner or something.
Yeah, it did.
Yeah.
Yes, it did. It was parked up, wasn't it? He could take no further part in qualifying. So he's right back at the back of the pack, and actually he's running in P12 at the moment. So Eric Chung is like Eric Prinot, isn't he? He's another one of these drivers that's been involved in the challenge for many, many years. And of course, he'll be getting a lot of track time here at Silverstone because he'll be taking part in some of the other programs that are going on as part of the Ferrari Racing Days. So Eric Chung then, and Claudio Schiavone just ahead of that 198 car.
I think now when I look at the time that people are getting closer and closer to getting into problems with the tires.
Right.
It's like 14 minutes left of the race, and it's now they really need to work the car.
That looked like an error from Claudio Schiavone, which has allowed Eric Chung to get ever closer to him, but wasn't quite close enough to be able to take advantage. It's what Martin has been talking about. You know, you're trying to pressure and push the driver in front into making a mistake, but almost to take advantage of that mistake, you've got to be right on that car. And sometimes, Martin, it pays you to drop back a little bit. Is that to cool the car? Is that just to cool yourself? You know, because we see this. You know, you'll maybe have 2 laps when you absolutely keep the pressure on, and then you'll drop back as Thomas Gosner shortcuts that turn. And well, he's coming in for a drive-through penalty anyway. But what it has done is put him right in front of Christian Kinch. But yeah, you see these cars dropping back and drivers dropping back and the pressure going away.
But I mean, it's quite tough to stay really close behind as well. I mean,
Yes.
You don't know if it's braking 3 meters too early, and then you have to avoid a collision things. But I think they are, at this moment, they are pushing as much as they can.
Laurent Demus then, who is the rookie in this championship here at Silverstone in that number 145 car, currently running in P16. And here comes Eric Chung on Claudio Schiavone. They're side by side now. It's a long way around the outside here for Eric Chung, but he runs wide and off the track. Now, track limits may be an issue there with regards to trying to make an overtake, because, of course, if you do run out wide, sometimes that'll give you a slingshot, Martin.
Yeah, I think it was, I don't know if it backed off, but it was
it didn't
smart
work,
anyway.
did it? Yeah, no. So there'll be no penalty for that because no advantage has been gained at all. Claudio Schiavone remains ahead of the 198 car of Eric Chung. Eric Prinot getting ever closer now to the car ahead of him, of Christian Kinch. And it's good to see Christian Kinch back racing once again. He was an innocent bystander in that Thomas Gosner incident I mentioned at Monza, when Thomas Gosner, the tyre let go and he had a huge crash on the start-finish straight, making contact with both sides of the track and the really rather unforgiving walls. And as he was spinning and pirouetting across the track, he collected the Christian Kinch car, and Christian Kinch has only just got back into the Ferrari Challenge. So he is being chased down now by Eric Prinot. Christian Kinch currently running in P8. Eric Prinot is P9. So this was Chung then on the inside of Claudio Schiavone, and this in replay.
They're sure having a good fight.
Yes, they are. Yes, they are. And again, there you can see that, you know, there's respectful racing room being left by both drivers, Martin. That's good to see. So on the pit wall then, as the crews look on, this is Eric Prinot then, as I mentioned, chasing down that car of Christian Kinch. Interesting looking at the pit wall there. Your team, the Scuderia Autoropa team, the team all enjoys the success, but the team enjoys the sorrow as well. You do win and lose as one unit, don't you, Martin?
Yeah, but for sure. I mean, I can be super bad and they can be performing good. It doesn't work, and it could be the opposite. So we need to perform together. That's the whole thing with it. So it's for sure a team effort.
So James Wayland still second ahead of Christoph Herney. And Christoph Herney, again, is another one of those drivers that's just been it's interesting through Sector 1, just comparing the Wayland and Herney time. Wayland 2/10 quicker. So there is Wayland. And the car of Christoph Herney in 1:62. Christoph Herney's best result, he's had a couple of P3s, but his best result was has been a P2 thus far this season. Whereas compared to James Wayland, his best result thus far has been a P5. Of course, he's also raced in the North American Series, and he's raced in the Asia Pacific Series also, and preferring to do a full campaign in the European Challenge this year. And as the clock ticks down, we have under 10 minutes of racing. So at this point, as a driver, you're tired because you've done the 2/3 of the race distance. The tyres are degrading. Presumably, Martin, mistakes can come towards the end of the race.
It's better to be here at Silverstone than compared to Paul Ricard with outside temperature, so it's easier
okay,
here,
yes.
but for sure now is the time when tiny mistakes start coming.
Well,
So it's
one man that hasn't is this man who's leading the race, and he's leading the race by a margin of some 5.2 seconds. But
that could also be a problem, because then he might start to relax a little bit. 5
Okay,
seconds
yes.
is a lot of time. So
That's a very good point to
he
make.
needs to continue push to keep the focus on. But I think in Johnny's case, like I said, he's a smart guy. He's driving for the championship.
Yeah.
He won't take any risk now. Just
No point, is there?
No,
Bank
for
the
sure
points. Now, both of these drivers, Johnny Lawson is 16 seconds up the road from James Wayland, so both of their pace has been extraordinary, hasn't it? They've really broken away from the rest of the pack. There's only 7/10 now between Wayland and Christoph Herney, so that's going to liven up in the last 8 minutes of the race, you feel sure. Eric Prenot, who we've been mentioning, in the battle for the 8th position, which involves Kinch and Prenot, and also Claudio Schiavone and Eric Chung. They remain as they were, with 7 3/4 minutes left, and it doesn't, for me, look like Eric Prenot can, at the moment, take anything to the Christian Kinch car ahead. I think if anybody is looking more vulnerable, potentially it's Claudio Schiavone and Eric Chung here. Eric Chung in P11, the Formula Racing driver, chasing down that Claudio Schiavone car. But again, I don't think any of them are really close enough yet. And it's at this point, isn't it, with presumably, do you have to drive the car in a slightly different way, Martin, to compensate for the fact that the tyres have had significant grip taken
for sure.
out of them?
You can see here when Eric was exiting the corner, he goes sideways. So now his tires started to drop quite a lot. So you need to be smoother on the gas. You need to brake a little bit earlier, just playing it smart.
Yes.
And these 4 guys, they are all extremely competitive. So
Yes.
they are not just waiting.
No, it ain't all over yet, is it?
For sure not.
6 3/4 minutes left, and Eric Prenot now under pressure from Claudio Schiavone, as Schiavone does get just a little bit closer to the Ineco MP driver ahead. So Schiavone taking a very different line there to Eric Chung. Eric Chung seems to remain smooth, and of course Eric Chung now will actually almost encourage these two to fight ahead of him, because he may be able to take advantage of it.
Yeah, you can see him flashing his light there. He really wants to pass now. And the one who's gaining a lot of this is the fight is Christian Kink. You can see he's
He's
finally
just
pulling
escaping,
away.
isn't he? Yes. So there he is, Christian, as you say, he's being able to pull away as these 3 fight over that place, and right in the middle of it is Claudio Schiavone. So Hunter and being hunted at the same time, which is never a nice feeling, probably. And there are racing drivers, Martin, that always tell me you never ever think about your rearview mirror. Focus on your fight up front, because the minute you start looking at the rearview mirror, you've immediately cost yourself a 10th.
Which is for sure true.
Is it?
But
Okay.
it's also quite hard to not look in your mirrors.
I can understand that.
You want to know what's going on behind you as well.
Right, James Wayland and Christoph Herney then, this battle for the final podium place. So P3, P4. James Wayland, who has driven a remarkable race. He did all the hard work, in my opinion, in qualifying. He put the car in a very, very good position, but nonetheless has driven supremely in the race as well. There are 5 minutes left to run, and Christoph Herney there in the 162 car. Both he and James are gentleman racers and performing very, very well for P3 and P4. So can Herney find anything over the final laps of this race? Because with under 5 minutes left to run, we're talking 2-3 laps probably, aren't we, Martin?
Yeah, and I've been following James the whole week, and he's been consistent and fast since Wednesday, first test day. So my feeling is that he has it under control here.
Okay. Perhaps just managing that gap, and if so, doing a very, very good job. Von Skelterma been relatively quiet. Of course, has benefited from some of the things that have gone on ahead of him, which means that Von Skelterma is P5. Vladimir Hladek is P6, who of course was chasing Fons, but that chase has gone away now. And Tadakazu Kojima, who's the rookie into the championship this weekend, is seemingly comfortable in P7. This is a great shot as we follow the James Wayland and Christoph Herney car through. And there is the rookie that I was mentioning just a few moments ago. Laurent Demus in the 145 car. Chasing down another one of the lady racers, which is Tina Koch, who is P14 at the moment, but will be P2 in the Ladies' Cup race. I have had up to 4 ladies racing at the same time, but just a couple this weekend. So the gap between the two of them, as you can see. Interesting colour scheme on the 145 cars. Goes for a potential overtake now on Tina Koch, all over the back of the car, trying to find the momentum and also the space to go past. Neither of them, of course, want to end up on the grass. Well, discretion the better part of valor there, potentially not. I felt that Tina ran wide there, which was almost encouraging.
I thought she actually opened and let him go.
Yes, which is why I said discretion the better part of valor. I thought she was going to let him go through, but
maybe she changed her mind.
Perhaps so, as indeed you and I both know women do from time to time.
Absolutely correct.
Both of us in trouble now, isn't it? There is James Wayland making his way through the Maggots-Beckett sequence now. And Christoph Herney in P4. The margin between them stayed fairly constant at 7/10. And as Martin was saying, James Wayland looking good from the test all the way through, but
it's a little bit close now, isn't it?
Yeah, I would have said so, because surely when you get to the very end of the race, or you know the end is in sight, Martin, is that when you throw absolutely everything at it and think to heck with it?
But I think now that James, of course, realized that there's no way to him to gain on the first and second, and that is also a problem, that you are there, you cannot push, you just need to be safe. And like I said, playing safe is never easy.
No. So there is James and Christoph Herney then. They are noticeably closer now. There's no question. We'll give you the live gap, as you can see. That is close, isn't it? Mm-hmm. And but got to find a way past, and well, we haven't seen any really big moves come yet from Christoph Herney, but of course he will be hoping for a mistake from James Wayland ahead. Not sure that's going to come. Henry Hassid, 5.7 seconds to the good at the front with Johnny Lawson P2. Then it is this battle for P3 that we're watching right now as teams look on, and there's Von Skelterma. Also back out is Rick Lovett, having gone in following the damage earlier. But of course, Rick Lovett is well down the order now, running in P18, so effectively is a back-marking car now. The incident involving cars number 100 and 145 under investigation. That was the one we saw a few moments ago involving Tina Koch and also the car of...
and Eric Cheng finally found a way around Claudio. See if he can put some pressure on Thomas and Christian Kink in the last lap.
Let's see. So onto the old pit straight. I say old, it's the national pit straight now. So Eric Prinot then on the back of the 128 car. And there is Eric Chung. As Martin has said, all of them having found a way past Claudio. And Eric Prinot then all over the back of the Christian car. Again through this sequence.
It's also a lot of color in the rearview mirror for Christian now with all this green, yellow. It's
Yes.
close. So
Well, let's see. We're on the final lap then as Henry Hasid is heading for another win. The lights being flashed by Eric Chung there, just hoping to just wrestle away the focus just for a moment of Eric Prinot. But for the moment, Eric Prinot is, I think, fully focused on trying to chase down Christian ahead of him. But Christian doing a good job here in seeing off the challenger of the Eric Prinot car behind. Now, we've seen some daredevil moves from Eric Prinot in the past, and they often come right at the end of the race as perhaps he gets a bit frustrated.
But so far everyone been handling really good. It's been a good race.
I agree.
No real bad incidents. So
No.
It's nice.
So Claudio
As it should be.
Schiavone. Oh, and that's Tina Cock out of the race then. Obviously the contact caused a problem, and Tina is out of the race. This, though, is our race leader, Henry Hasid, for the Charles Pozzi team. And Charles Pozzi team will be celebrating alongside the driver because, as Martin has said, it's very much a team effort and you all do it together. And he's got 5.4 seconds over Johnny Lawson. So barring any absolute disaster towards the end of the race, I should think that Henry Hasid has got this all absolutely nailed. And what I find remarkable about both Henry Hasid and Johnny Lawson is, you know, Henry Hasid has got the age deficit, if you like, to Johnny Lawson. Johnny Lawson is younger, but Henry Hasid, we know, is a quick racing driver, has raced in many, many things. Just once he's got his nose in front, he just continues to nail everything and tends not to make any errors, tends not to lose any time anywhere, and just focuses on what he's got to do.
Exactly. So super precise and everything. Consistent, boom, lap after lap after lap, and so he's just pulling away from start to the end. So it's impressive to see him.
Impressive, and a really relatively comfortable victory as Henry Hasid posts another win in the book for the Charles Pozzi team. James Wayland, is he going to be able to hold on to this P3 place? We know that Johnny Lawson has crossed the line P2, but this is the fight for P3. Christoph Herney doing everything he can all over the back of the 488 of James Wayland ahead of him, but James has surely done enough. Yes, indeed he has. He will cross the timing line and take P3, his first podium of the season. And
it was close.
It was close, followed all the way by Christoph Herney. Then it will be Vladimir Hladek that will take P6. Tadakazu Kojima will take P7. Christian Kinch then will be P8. Ahead of Eric Prinot, Eric Chung, Claudio Schiavone. And then it should be a pair of Ghostners, because it will be Manuela Ghostner that will cross the timing line ahead of her father, Thomas. And there indeed is Thomas Ghostner taking P13. Ingvar Madsen will take P14 and Laurent Demus will take P15. So there we have it, race done and dusted, and a fine victory for Henry Hasid. Fine P2 for Johnny Lawson, who, as you said, you know, he's got his focus very much on the championship, hasn't he? And P2 points are very, very important points for the Formula Racing driver.
Absolutely.
He has now got past Henry Hasid. He'd like to have done that in the race, but it never ever looked a potential, did it, truthfully?
No, I mean, both are really good drivers,
Yes.
and they know their limits. So it's, no, I think for Henry it was quite, of course, it was a stressful race, but he always had a nice distance, so he could just focus on his own driving, don't caring too much about what's going on behind him. So
no, you're right. You're not under pressure, are you? Drivers of cars 100 and 145 to report after the session to race control. Those are
something about the last things that will happen with Tina and Laurent.
Yes, it was Tina and Laurent, wasn't it? Super impressed with James Wayland. Interested what you said. Of course, I wasn't here at the test day on Wednesday, and you said he looked very impressive then.
Yeah, so I think he's been driving quite a lot on the track, and he was, like I said, really consistent with his laps times, and now he feels as he's hot now.
Well, good on him. There is the Thomas Ghostner car then, which ends up finishing P13. So Henry Hasid then in the 147 car for the Charles Pozzi team. And that will be his fourth win. And let's take a look at the show cam here. Big thanks to Martin Nelson, the Trofeo Pirelli Am driver, for joining us in the comms booth. And there is Johnny Lawson, who has banked P2 then. And there the spectators on track to enjoy the race action from the Ferrari Challenge at Coppa Shell. And there is Henry Hassid. Another fine victory. Four wins that he's taken in the championship so far. And there's James Wayland then. Out of the car, P3, be on the podium. Well done, James. Sometimes nice just to listen into the conversations. And here comes Manuel Agostina, who will be taking the ladies' win. Actually finished the race down there in P12. Had the drive-through penalty. So baseball cap on, and there you can see the podium. And well done, James. You can hear him saying, hey, you know, I got sideways. Brilliant. Great to hear. Henry Hassid takes the win from Johnny Lawson. James Wayland, then P3. Then it's Christoph Herney, von Skeltermar, Vladimir Haladik. And Kojima takes P7 with Kinch P8, Brenot P9, Eric Chung rounding out the top 10. The rest of the order, as you can see, drivers we lost included Tina Koch and Tommy Lindroth. So up to the podium next. So up to the podium we'll be going next. And we'll be seeing the top three plus the best of the lady racers too, which will be Manuel Agostina. Not for the first time this season, that's for sure. There we can see the Hublot safety car making its way back into the pit lane. So the Formula Racing team there ready to salute their driver, Johnny Lawson, up on the top step of the podium.
In a few minutes, the podium of this first race shall cap. We are waiting all drivers for...
There you can hear McKaylee then urging the drivers to make their way to the podium. The podium right at the end of the wing complex here at Silverstone. part of the Ferrari Racing Days and the 70-year celebrations of Ferrari here at Silverstone this weekend, with demonstrations from Formula One car to come tomorrow, and of course XX programs and the F1 Clienti all here as well. And in the Drivers' Championship, Johnny Lawson on 145 points to Henry Hasid on 89. Henry Hasid and Eric Chung now tying on 89 points. Rick Lovett, P473, 1 point ahead of Christoph Herney. Then it's Skeltermar, Prinot, Hladek, Gosner and Dwayland completing the top 10 in the Drivers' Championship. So Johnny Lawson banking that P2 confirms his position at the top of the championship, and really confirms what Martin Nelson was saying about banking points at this stage in the season is important. James Wayland up onto the podium. Here comes Johnny Lawson. And Henry Hasid. And here comes the best of the ladies, Manuela Gosner, despite the drive-through penalty. National anthem to play out now for Henry Hasid. So the anthem does indeed play out. Mark Genet then makes the trophy presentation, first of all to James Wayland. Up next it will be Johnny Lawson receiving his trophy. And Henry Hasid on the top step of the podium receives his trophy. Manuela Gosner. Charles Pozzi, first of all, of course, the teams receives their trophy, and then it will be Manuela Gosner, the lady racer, that will receive her trophy.
Second one trophy. And for Manuela Gosner for Ladies Cup, Mark Genet and Manu Gosner.
So
all together on the first step of the podium. And rise your trophy, please. Rise your trophy. Okay. Smile, sun, photos, videos, a picture from Silverstone for this first race of Shell Cup. And okay, we are ready.
What a great shot that is.
Very fantastic job. And we are ready for the final show for Champagne.
Teo Mayer there from Pirelli looking on at the podium. And the celebrations up there on the podium. Next race, of course, Trofeo Pirelli Race 2 tomorrow at 13:15 GMT. Please make sure you join us for that. Another Coppa Shell race to come as well. So drivers make their way off the podium following the race then. And a good race from the Coppa Shell drivers, which saw Henry Hasid taking a win from Johnny Lawson and James Wayland. So, super slow-mos of the James Wayland car, taking P3. Johnny Lawson then P2. And of course the car of Henry Hasid, which once again has been victorious at Silverstone now. So for Henry Hasid, it's 4 wins out of 5 starts. And the ladies' Cup winner, Manuela Gosner, has a commanding lead at the top of the Ladies' Cup, that's for sure. And that doesn't look like being abated anytime soon, truthfully. And super slow-mo then of the champagne moment up there on the podium. So we'll bring the highlights of that race in just a few moments' time. In fact, here come the highlights right now. So the tension built as the cars approach the green lights. The 30-minute race for Coppa Shell to be got underway. And Henry Hasseed immediately put himself into the lead. It was a great start from James Wayland. As the rest of the cars all jostling for position behind, but respectful racing from all of them. Manuela Gosner and Claudio Schiavone, though, did have a touch, and that played into the hands of those behind, and unfortunately Manuela Gosner would receive a drive-through penalty for that. Tommy Lindroth and Ingvar Mattsson would also get together in a dual pirouette. And Thomas Gosner closing the door on the 112 car of Rick Lovett. Nicky Caddy looking on. Eric Chung and Claudio Schiavone got very close at times. Eric Chung backing out of that. Driver that was just at the front and not doing anything wrong. Henry Hasseed, who was eking out a very comfortable margin over Johnny Lawson. And come the checkered flag, there was no mistaking the dominance. 6.2 seconds to the good for Henry Hasseed over Johnny Lawson taking P2, James Wayland taking P3, and Manuela Gosner winning the Ladies' Cup. Join us for 2 more races tomorrow, Trofeo Pirelli and Coppa Shell. From us here now, bye-bye.